What's going on, people? Welcome back to 30 Mins Arsenal with myself and my guy, Harry. What you telling me, my bro?
Yes,
You good?
hello, mate. Absolute bedlam over here amongst the Tokyo Gooners against United. Great result. Wasn't perfect. It was
Mm.
rather ugly at times. But yes, 3 points in the bag. It just feels so good. So good. Arteta time. Yeah, I can't say anything else, mate. Just feeling really good. Japanese Gooners, I'm over the moon right now. Yeah.
Big up, people. Make sure you're smashing a like on this video. Subscribe if you're new, as it's massively important to grow the channel and grow the
Mm,
show. But look,
yes.
Harry, first of all, we haven't had a chat since the United game. I do want to get a little
Yes.
recap from you on that, how you saw the game
Yep.
and the roller coaster of emotions that was going on.
Oh
Because
my
fuck me,
lord.
mate, I'm telling you, it was
My lord.
crazy. Talk to me, man.
Seriously. Supporting Arsenal, I don't know what good it does to our heart. Seriously. Our cardiovascular system under serious hemorrhage with all that banter. But yes, we managed to do it. As I say again, it wasn't perfect, mate. If we compare ourselves to the silky, sexy football that was on display last season, they're going to be a few tough occasions like this. To be brutally honest, I don't think the team is completely on ball as of yet. There are a couple of new players in there who don't understand the system inside out. But we got the result. And the result is what we needed just before the international break. Now, imagine if that Garnacho goal had been allowed, right? And we didn't manage to win this. You could have imagined what kind of damage it would have had on us as a team and as a supporting unit before the international break. Yeah, so I'm good. We're all good. Pity about Fulham, but this kind of victory over United is kind of totally overshadowed that mighty fuck up against Fulham. So yeah.
Do you still think your boy Havertz is going to get that 15 goals that you predicted? Talk to me. Talk to me.
mate. I've still got trust in Havertz. I'm not quite sure if describing him as your boy, my boy, is nice. But mate, I get the agenda, man. I feel sorry for the guy, but I'm sorry. You have to bury that in. That chance, mate. That chance. But the defensive side of his game and was good during the game, but he just seems to be in the wrong position at the wrong time. And if you can't bury something from 5 yards out, with Vieira performing so well, and the other substitutes doing their game, I'm very keen to look how Arteta's going to line up for Everton. But that's going to be in a week and a bit's time. Everton, a very physical side. So that physicality that Havertz brings out, maybe he may stick it in there. But it's the international break, and with international breaks, all hell breaks loose with injuries. So touch wood, nothing happens to us.
Hopefully, fingers crossed, because we know Thomas Partey is out for 6 weeks. It's being reported.
Is this a proper report? 6
I
weeks.
think it is. I think it is. I think first I was hearing he's going to be out for a few months, and maybe 6 weeks coming up to a few months, but longer than what I initially thought.
Yeah.
First, I'm not even gonna lie. First, initially, I actually thought it was all bullshit. I thought that they've just put it out there to kind of throw United off track and so on. But then it's come out that it's true. He didn't play against United. Obviously, his international team in Ghana released the news and basically told everyone Thomas Partey he's not available, which is a bit mad. Is a bit mad.
Yeah.
But look, I think with Thomas Partey being out the team, it's kind of forced Arteta to go back to a back four.
Exactly.
In my opinion.
It's forcing Gabriel back into the team. And thank God Gabriel's back. The amount of command he has with that back four, the Gabriel Saliba partnership too. But it's also the build-up play, I mean, Saliba's amazing, but if he's playing left centre-back, he doesn't have a left foot in order to bang it in straight into Martinelli or into Havertz or into Eddie or Jesus, So it just brings a totally different quality to the team.
it brings a good balance in that back four as well.
Yes,
You get me? And
yes.
with Zinchenko coming in, it does enable Zinchenko to float around in the midfield like we've seen against United. Sometimes he was on the left side of midfield, on the right side of midfield, because you're confident. You got Gabriel, Saliba, and Ben White behind you that's dropping in as a free, and you know that is a solid back three as well. Ben White playing on the right, he was giving Saka that much needed support, in my opinion, and that's something that we lacked during the first 3 games.
What a relief, mate. You know, with Partey on the right and the triangle that they tried to make with Odegaard and Saka, just it doesn't work, man. You know, Partey is kind of like overlapping. You know, with overlapping, everything's judged by the split second, right? And the chemistry is already there with Ben White and Saka and Odegaard. And I've got to say, with the Partey injury, I'm fairly sure it's something muscular, right? Is the groin? It's the hamstring.
I think so. I think it's something muscular.
Right, playing right back, you know, the amount of sprints that you have to do and the amount of running that you have to do, you know, darting in and out compared to playing defensive midfielder, you know, that takes a toll on the body. So I'm fairly sure if it's muscular, it's the position that's actually done it to Partey's groin. But yes,
I agree.
So much better with Ben White and linking up with Saka. Saka had an average or maybe below par game. He needs to bury that, you know. Some people may say that he should have been sent off, but the Lindelof situation is the same thing. Yes, and it's going to be a big question when to use Saka and when to give him a rest. You know, is it going to be Nelson in there? Is it going to be Vieira in there? It could even be Havertz in there because he's played that position before in the past. Yeah. Do
you know what? I think with Saka as well and the likes of Martinelli, I think the unbalancing of the squad, it hasn't helped them settle and find their flow. And I think that's with a lot of players in the Arsenal team at the moment. But we've seen against Man United, we was on fire for the first few minutes or so, 10, 15 minutes. When they scored, I think we kind of willingly conceded possession because over the years we've been stung by Manchester United and they've kind of attacked us and hit us on their counter and they've ended up scoring goals and it's kind of ruined our day against United. So I think Arteta conceded possession against them so they couldn't really hit us on the counter. And I think it did work because there was, even for the equaliser for the Odegaard goal, the play, the pattern of play, the build-up, it was beautiful to watch. Get me? We sped it up at the right time. We had slow control, building the ball up, but in the vital moment, in the final third, when we needed to speed it up, we sped it up 110%. And you can see that quality from last season there within the boys. But the Partey injury, it is going to be a blow to this team because we could say, thank God, there's 2 weeks of international football and he could take that out of his injury. You get me? And hopefully that can make him come back a little bit quicker rather than stronger. But it's disappointing because I wanted to see the likes of Partey, Odegaard and Declan Rice in the middle of the pitch, which I think is our strongest three moving forward. I think with Havertz, I think Arteta's throwing him in the deep end, Harry. I think with a player that's got that much pressure on his shoulders, you need to kind of ease him into the team slowly, dip your foot in the water, because say you come on with 20 minutes to go and you score a goal or you create a goal, the fans will start coming on side, myself included. You'll be saying, all right, we can see a little something in Havertz here. And then if he does get a game and he is starting and he does make a mistake, you're not going to be on him as much. But because he's cost 65 million and he's on 300 grand a week, it looks like Arteta's falling on his sword. And the biggest disappointment for me is we've seen, look, you know, I've not been the biggest fan of Fabio Vieira. I have also said we got to give him a year and see what he does this year. But he is coming in and proving his worth. Every appearance he's stepped into, he's been sensational. You get me? At what point are players like Fabio Vieira and Leandro Trossard, who we've seen play in that position in pre-season and was our best player in pre-season, when are they going to start getting fed up? Is this going to start having a bit of a... Is this going to start killing the mentality off? Is this going to start killing the peace off? Are they going to be sitting there thinking, you know what, we're going to be a bit rebellious here because it looks like every time we come on, we're doing something right or we think we can do better than him in that position, but we're not getting the opportunity. The manager's got favourites. What is the whole situation? Where's your head around this situation? Do you reckon Havertz needs to be dropped and Fabio Vieira or Trossard need to come in? Or do you reckon he's right in playing him?
So the cup games haven't started. We haven't touched on the Champions League. We haven't touched on the FA Cup and the Carabao Cup. And there's going to be a massive incorporation of Trossard and all the other crew, and Nelson included. I was quite interested to see Nelson come on into that position instead of maybe Trossard. But yes, it's going to be a big challenge for Arteta to have that mentality, spurring everyone on because. If you look at the whole situation through Trossard's eyes, mate, he was on fire during pre-season, right? And he gave a massive shout to start. But when he did start against Fulham, he had a very below par game. But there's going to be chances in and out, and the very important thing is that we actually do well in the cup competitions too. Okay, there's going to be some preference and there's going to be some prioritization with the Champions League that we'll talk about in a second. But even with the FA Cup and with the Carabao Cup here, we need to bring out our B team or our BC team in there to give them minutes, give them, pure fighting chance. Because otherwise, as you said, the mentality, kind of goes all over the place. But if you look at the Manchester City's the way they do it, they're very good. All those fantasy football players out there may scream and swear with all this kind of like position changing and rotation, but that's what we need to do. The rotation is going to be so important, and therefore Saka needs to be given the rest every so often.
No, I agree. I think during the cups, look, I don't want to throw any cups away because in recent years we've been shocking in the cups.
Yeah,
we kind of sacrificed them. And also, I want to see a mix of players. I want to see the likes of an 11 that could start in a Premier League game, like bring in a Trossard. Because the one thing Trossard gives us, for example, I always compare him to the likes of Asante Cazorla because he's a player from deep that can create. We all know he's got an absolute banger on him. Right foot, left foot. If we're struggling to break a team down, you bring Trossard in that Havertz position. He could pick up the ball and out of nothing, he can score a goal. And I think that's something we've been lacking in this team. Yeah, Martin Odegaard can pick up the ball. Excuse me. Martin Odegaard can pick up the ball in and around the box and he can put the ball in the net and he's fantastic at it. But I think Trossard, we're not utilising that that technique that he's got and that ability that he's got just to put the ball in the back of the net. And I think we do need to see these players getting rotated, but I don't want to see literally the whole team stripped out. I want to see first team players alongside these players to see how the chemistry is. Because
you saw Spurs go out the Carabao Cup in the second round. I think it was against Fulham, and they've been a total B team, right? We should learn from that, It's not a B team, C team that we bring in. It needs to be an incorporation and a mix of the A team and the B team. So you can guess who's going to stay in there, right? For example, Saliba and probably Gabriel would stay in there to give us a bit of solidarity. Declan Rice, fantastic, absolute monster of a player. But, even him cannot play every single game. He'll do it.
I think he will. I think he will. He will change him up with Jorginho. But look, Harry, you brought up Declan Rice, man. Let's speak about this guy because
dive in. What a performance!
I think if Thomas Partey got injured and we didn't have Declan Rice, we would be losing our shit. We would be losing our shit. But look, 105 million. He's coming. He's earning. Literally, he's repaying every penny back, and he looks like a real general. The way he wins the ball back, the character that he's got on the pitch, getting himself forward, even the passion that he had when he scored that goal. You can see he loves being at the Arsenal, man. What's your whole assessment of the whole Declan Rice story at the moment?
Oh, fantastic, mate. I don't like to compare with other players, but you look at the Caicedo situation and you look at all these plus 100 million quid players and how they're doing. And mate, Declan Rice looks as though he's been with the Arsenal for like 5 or 10 years. You know what I mean? He looks as though he was at Hale End and been a youth player all these years. The way he's consolidated himself into the team, mate. the respect and the trust that he has already from his team players, but also from the fans. Oh, I love him, man. I love the goal going in, man, that was ecstasy. But I love to see him regain possession in the middle of the park, boss about, shout about, be the general that he is. Love it, mate.
Do you know what? There was 100%. I was going to say that definitely future captain material. You can see it all over him. The guy is a phenomenon, and he's a general. That's the best way to describe it. He's a general in that midfield. The way he was breaking up the play, the way he'd put his foot in, and his timing of his tackling was so perfect. Like that is unbelievable, because I think this team has missed the likes of a Granit Xhaka this season, because Granit Xhaka gives you that dominance in midfield. He gives you that bully boy mentality. He can win the ball back. Midfielders are a bit scared of him, and they think twice when they're trying to do things against Granit Xhaka. And we kind of lost that with Havertz coming into the team. But with each and every game passing, Declan Rice is taking that on his shoulders. And you can see for a fact, that this guy is going to be at Arsenal for so many years. He's already a fan favourite. It's very rare that a player comes into the Arsenal or comes into a club and he's a fan favourite straight away. The love that Rice has been shown from the fans, and even down to songs getting made for him, and just everything about this signing, even though he come for big money, you'd expect that pressure to be on him, but it hasn't kind of been like that. It's been more of a open arms welcome Rice, because we have been after Caicedo for a long time now, since the January window. That didn't materialize, and we've gone in for Declan Rice, and we've sealed him. Now, it looks like you said, it looks a little bit too early to judge Caicedo and his performances at Chelsea, but he's given the ball away twice. They've conceded both times off that. The contrasting performances is different, man. You know what I mean? But look, man, Declan Rice, we just got to give him a big shout out, because this guy is unbelievable, and he's becoming one of my favourite Arsenal players already. That's how mad it is. Do you know what I'm saying? But would you like to see Declan Rice play a little bit further up? Because
mate,
I think he can offer us more.
I'm screaming to see Thomas Partey in the defensive midfield position, and Odegaard on the right on the 4-3-3, and then Declan Rice and one level up in the Granit Xhaka position. He will master that play. But it's always good to have versatility, and it's always good to have several different options. And I'm liking this Arteta banter of, yes, we had 43 different kind of defensive kind of systems, out there. Have you noticed Arteta's been kind of like talking the talk in his interviews? There's a bit of fair amount of banter.
You know what?
There.
I'm not gonna lie. I've been looking at it thinking, oh man, you need to fucking wake up, man. When you're comparing your wife's situation to Havertz, bro, like just cut it out, innit? Just cut it out. I don't want to hear that.
There. I'm sure he's having a bit of a laugh, having a bit of a banter there. But,
he's got to be, because if he's serious, fucking hell, I don't know what jelly he's using on that head, but he needs to fix it straight away. Look. For me, he tries to come across a bit too much like Pep Guardiola, in my honest opinion. Obviously, it is going to rub off on him a bit because it's his pal and he's worked under him. But you need to get your own identity, you know what I'm saying? And just be yourself. And this Havertz one, you're going to try to protect him. He's your player, 100% understand it. But sometimes you got to call it as it is, you know what I mean? And when players ain't performing too great, you drop them to the bench, because I don't even think a Jorginho holding a Declan Rice pushing forward with an Odegaard I think that would be better free than Havertz, Rice and Odegaard as well. I think Vieira in that position would be better. I think Trossard in that position would be better. And like I said, he just needs to ease him into the team. But look, let's put that to one side for now. We have the one discussion that we have to touch on, because our two star boys, Odegaard and Saka, have been nominated. They're in the 30-man shortlist for the Ballon d'Or. You get me? It's looking good, man. It's looking good. But look, Odegaard, 15 goals, 7 assists last season. Saka, 15 goals, 11 assists. There's a big names in that list, You got the likes of Mbappe, Messi, Bellingham, Benzema. You've got Kane. There's a lot of players. That's just to name a few. Are any of our boys deserving of winning that trophy, or do you think it's a little bit too early? With your honest hat on, the biased aside.
My honest hat on, I think it's a bit too early for the Ballon d'Or. The Ballon d'Or is something else. It's the creme de la creme. It's the top of the top, I think Odegaard and Saka being nominated is pure recognition of not just them as a singular quality, but Arsenal as a team. When's the last time we've had kind of like players being nominated for the Ballon d'Or, right? You know what I mean? So the thing is, if we go out and have a stonking, beautiful season, maybe, who never knows. But if you think about other names inside the pool, thinking of like obviously Haaland and Mbappe, Bellingham too. It's early days. The team, we're a young squad. We've got a good, 5 or 6 years of all sorts of glory ahead of us, So but it's good. But it's good to have them.
I think the recognition is definitely there for the Arsenal players. Look, we've seen the PFA Young Player of the Year has been given to Saka. We've seen Odegaard, we've seen Saliba, Ramsdale, and Saka also inside the Team of the Year, which is great to see. Saka's been given the England Player of the Year, second year running, which is mad because we would not have seen that 5-6 years ago. An Arsenal player, maybe when Jack Wilshere was in there, we could have had that kind of hope. But other than that, we never really seen an Arsenal player in the England setup that is the best player there. Do you know what I mean? You can maybe argue Harry Kane, he gets the goals or whatnot, but the influence Saka has on that England team is unbelievable. My thing is, in order to win the Ballon d'Or, I think you at least got to win your league. I think you at least got to win your league or the Champions League. One of the big trophies. Go on, sorry, what was I going to say?
Yeah. At least one of the big trophies. You don't need to be top scorer, right? But you need to be in a team that's absolutely dominated on one of your competitions. That could arrive this year.
Or you got to do something that stands out a lot. Like, in my opinion, I think Haaland should get it. I think he won the treble.
No doubt.
He's come in his first season and blew the Premier League record away. He's just been ticking records off his list every single game. You get me? I think somebody like that, the age that he's at as well, people forget because Haaland's a monster. People forget he's a young lad. They think he's 27, 28 years old in the prime of his career. He's still got so much room to develop. Yeah, you're under Pep Guardiola, one of the best coaches in the world, and you're playing in one of the best team, if not the best team in the world. So you expected to get a good number of goals and your stats should be high. But the Premier League's very difficult for some people to come in and adapt to. And the way he's taken to it like a duck like water, it's mad. It's absolutely mad. So,
mental.
Yeah. I'd have to give it to Haaland. That's my honest opinion. But you got to take your hat off to the likes of Odegaard and Saka for even being mentioned in them names. We seen Saka last year. He turned up to the event. And do you not remember, Harry, on 30 Minutes Arsenal, I was saying, look, he's putting it out there. You know what I mean? The law of attraction. Next year, he'll be in it and then he'll end up winning it. So he's doing all the right things. And if he carries on the way he is and the trajectory that he's going on, undoubtedly he'll definitely be winning a Ballon d'Or within the next, say, 6-7 years because he's just that player. We could see England potentially, you don't know, they might go on and win the Euros. We've been going further along in competition. So we're going to have to wait and see. But putting that to one side, Champions League draw.
Yes,
I've not touched on it on the channel. I've not touched on it on the channel at all. I've been waiting for you, Harry. I've been waiting for you.
How are you feeling with the draw, the group, compared to the other Premiership boys? How are you feeling about this then?
Do you know what? I'm feeling confident. I think we should have more than enough to win this group because
it is a good draw.
Yes, Sevilla have good European pedigree, but 9 out of 10 they drop out of the group stages and they go on to win the Europa League. PSV, we seen them last season. Yeah, I think we drew away with them at their ground. We beat them at home, and they've lost a few players there.
We lost against them, man. We
did lose it. Was it 1-0?
Yeah, I think it was 1 or something. We lost. I think
Gakpo scored, didn't he, or something? Or was it Simons?
Yeah, it was Simons or Simons, whatever how you pronounce
it.
Simons,
but he's gone. Gakpo's gone. The team's gone weaker. I think that really we should be beating them home and away. And Lens, really, we should be beating them home and away. I think we should be topping that group. When the Bayern Munich came out of the pot, I was looking at it with my eyes closed. I was thinking, no, I'm not looking another 10-2. You get me? I'm not looking another 10-2. Harry Kane there. And this time, Harry Kane probably be on the winning side for once against Arsenal. You know what I mean? Because every time they come to the Emirates, they're getting battered. So I am confident. I think we can go far in this competition. And it's something that I said at the start of the season as well, Harry. And I have mentioned it to you. I said, I feel like we'll do better in the Champions League than what we will do in the Premier League. And I'm going to stick to that because we're a new force in the Champions League after so many years. And with the unpredictable, people don't really know what to expect from us in the Champions League. Yeah, you could say PSV do because they played us before, but I don't think teams really know how to take Arsenal because they haven't played against us in so many years. So I think that works into our advantage. And also, I think the hunger of the boys trying to get that competition for so long is going to play a factor. Being absent from the competition, it makes you even more hungry to succeed in it. And I think that's the fire in the belly that we got. Where do you stand on it?
Totally. And I'm going to say Fabio Vieira and Leandro Trossard are going to have an absolute wild time in Champions League because, some might say the Champions League is way above the Premiership. I say, hell no. The intensity that the Premiership brings is it's number one out of all the leagues out there in the world. So you have a bit more time on the ball. People lay off you and the tactics, the motivation inside there too. You think about that. I think Fabio Vieira and Trossard are going to be given a fair amount of time to work their magic on the pitch. So yes, and another good thing is after these Champions League games, we have quite a few home games. For example, we start off against PSV, right? And then we're against Spurs home on the 24th. So all this traveling, there's no traveling to fucking Timbuktu this time round. Yeah, we're not going to, remote Eastern European regions towards the Middle East or towards the Russian border or anything, right? So so I think it's been a great draw. And considering where Newcastle have been planted into. Even United in the Bayern Munich group, it's not easy. So we've come out good, man. We've come out good. And I'm saying at least quarterfinal, semi-final for the Arsenal in the Champions League this year. Yeah.
Do you know what? I think the bookies have got us down as third, fourth favourites for the competition.
Yeah.
So I think people are expecting to see a positive Arsenal because I don't think teams in the Champions League are as strong as they once were, to be honest with you. That's my honest opinion. I think when we were growing up and we've seen prime Barcelona, Real Madrid's and Bayern Munich's and stuff like that, the teams were very strong. Even AC Milan, Inter Milan, they had very strong teams. I think now the level has kind of dropped. And I think if we are to go and win the Champions League, this is probably the best era to go and win it at, especially with the crop of players that we got. Let them be free. Don't make stupid decisions and go with a back three and bring in Partey at right back. Go with your best team because this is not the Premier League, like you said. It's going to be a new thing for absolutely everybody. What we played last season will be brand new to anyone that we play in the Champions League. You know what I mean? Where in the Premier League, I understand Arteta says he wants to be less predictable because teams have come up against us last season and they might kind of figure out how we're going to play. Teams in the Champions League ain't going to be looking at Arsenal like that. So we need to be playing with our strongest team. And I want to see us make statements. I think if we win this group,
ourselves, man. Impose ourselves.
100%. If we go into this group, and we beat Sevilla like 4-5-0, beat PSV 3-4-0, we make score lines like that, when we get into the knockout stages, teams are going to be looking at Arsenal. We could get drawn up against a Real Madrid, and that's where I think it's going to start becoming a bit of an issue. We could get drawn up against a Bayern or somebody like that, where if they see us with that kind of form going into the knockout stages and beating teams like that with big scorelines, they'll be sitting there and they'll be thinking twice about Arsenal. It'll have a little bit of fear as well when they come to play us. They'll have to be a bit cautious rather than seeing us scrape 1-0 or drawing 1-1 and just getting through the group. They'll look at us and think, we'll just smack these up, and it'll give them extra confidence. So I want to see us make a serious statement. But you touched on Newcastle, man. Absolute death of a group. Absolute death.
What is it again? Newcastle, Milan, Dortmund, Paris Saint-Germain. Holy shit, bro. Oh my lord.
Do you know what? I'm going to say something bold here.
Hmm.
I'm going to say Newcastle to get through second in the group.
Ooh. You know, they've been unlucky, but did you see them get battered against Brighton? How
Yeah, I've
Brighton
seen it. It's been
absolutely
mad.
ripped them apart. Evan
It's been
Ferguson,
mad.
what a player too. You know, oh my god. And there's rumors of us trying to go in for Evan Ferguson at the end of the year, right?
We were talking about maybe signing him, being a potential
Oh my
signing.
god! Imagine how much he's going to be. 120 million. You know.
And you know what? He is, man. Brighton have been pulling people's pants down left, right, and
Oh
centre.
my
The amount of
god.
money that they've got for selling players, they should be able
Oh
to go
my
out there
lord.
and do a Chelsea.
Oh my
It's
god.
absolutely crazy. But look, Harry, we have come to the end of the show.
Yes,
30
mate.
Minutes Arsenal. It's been a
So good to
pleasure.
speak to you, man.
Yeah,
Oh, great.
bro, I've missed this show because we have missed the
Yes.
week, people. So we do apologize. But make sure
Mm-mm-mm.
you smash a like on this video, subscribe if you're new. Like I said, it's a click of a button and it's totally free of charge. You get me? It
Yes,
only
mate.
helps grow the
Full on
channel and
support
push
for the
out this
channel.
show. You get me? Any final words, Harry, for the people then?
Mate, it's going to be Germany versus Japan. Havertz against Tomiyasu. You know, I'm not sure too many people will be watching that, but mate, just hoping for 0 injuries, and then we go and smash Everton. Thank you.
You never know. Tomiyasu might do us a favour and cause an injury to Havertz. We don't know.
You know, not yet. I'm
Well,
sure he'll come
people,
out
then
eventually.
make sure you
All
smash
right.
that like, peace and love, and we'll see you next week.
Like. All right. Bye bye.